Hello everyone, my name is Guillaume. I'm here with you today for our Facebook Live for Tuesday tax tips. Today of course, we're part of Beta Virtual Assistants here, and we're with you like 3 times a week on different subjects. So to the topic of this week, let me check if the sound is working. However, just to make sure, always worried about this. I've not been here in a while, so let me just check if the sound is working. It looks good. All right, thanks. So hope you'll enjoy this. So all right, so we want to discuss airdrops today. So the subject is really what are airdrops basically? Why do you get them, and what to do with them? So so you might see sometimes you go to your. Obviously, this is more common on like wallets or wallets that are on the public blockchain and things like that. It's rarely occurring if you're using a centralized exchange where things are more controlled, but obviously you're also limited because they own your coins, but also you're not exposed to everything happening on the public blockchain. But what might happen is if using any kind of wallets, more either on your mobile phone or on some website, it will happen that you will see some coins that have some weird ticker. It could be just some name you've never seen. It could be some weird quantity. It could be even some weird value. So that means that like, why is that? I've never bought this. I never sold this. I've never. So often this is for all kinds of weird crypto project or different things happening, and they mainly use that as advertisement purposes. So uh, they will send that. They can get address like wallet address randomly on the public blockchain, and they can just send token to people. They might send like a very big amount, but obviously the value normally is zero or pretty much zero. They can pretend it has some value, but it probably not. And actually, what you might see is if you even go on some of the blockchain, sometimes there's a note with those transaction, which is basically like a deposit of some coin on your wallet, and then you will see sometimes there's like even a link or a message that advertise go to this website for this giveaway or for this particular event. So um, so basically you have things happening. It could be sometimes it's about some famous stuff or more like things on the news, like some coins that have been very popular, but often it's some obscure crypto that you've never heard of. So so you will see that sometimes, and if you're it might have some name like a number or something in front, like 97 visit, or it could be yes, sometimes also you have to be careful because it might look familiar because it's similar to an existing token that is valid or that is known, and it just looks similar. Like for example, there was a lot of stuff about NFT back then, and then like for example recently with AI, there's a bunch of thing about AI, or at the time also with the some shit coins like Shiba or whatever Doge coin. There was names that look similar. So so basically you will get that, and there's not much you can do about it really. Now the question is what why you might think, oh, I'm just gonna sell that, I mean, and get rid of it or sell it. But obviously, if you want to sell it, you need a way to convert it. So either you need to move it somewhere else, or you will need to interact with the contract on a certain website to be able to sell or convert this token, because normally they're not even like available to trade on in common places. So that's where you have to be very careful, because in most cases, you don't want to interact with any of this, because that's one of their purposes. They're kind of going fishing, and they want to see if any wallet is active, if any wallet will interact with you. And basically, to be able to sell it, they might somehow insist or force you to go to some contract or website that might be fraudulent, or might not be, but you don't really know, and you can't tell. So we don't recommend interacting with any of those, and so it's better to leave them there. And I'll tell you later what to do in the software. So be careful with that. Mainly, you want to ignore them, even though that's an annoyance. And then you just want to, yeah, you will see sometime it might look. So basically, you will. What's the nice thing about if you're using an existing wallet like MetaMask or something similar is that normally only the networks that you've been involved with you will add to your wallet, and then even for a particular network, only the coins that you're interacting with you will be adding to your wallet. So all you see normally is things that you know and that you've been dealing with. So you won't probably even see most of these like airdrops. What will happen though is if you connect your wallet to a tax software, for example, or if you go on the blockchain and look at your address and see all the activity, then that's where you might find out about those tokens that you've never seen before. So again, they might be able to somehow have some like bad purposes and try to drain your wallet or something. So if you see them, actually there might be some legitimate one in some cases. Like for example, if you've bought before VET, I believe you would get like VTHO, Veto like token, because you invest in some token. Sometimes you get some other token in exchange or as a bonus or as a reward. So there could be some legitimate tokens. So always check if you've done something that might generate some of those. But most likely, if you don't know what it is, then it's probably not valid. So normally those would be income. But again, what do you do if you see those? When you connect to the software, then you might start seeing them in the software, because it will retrieve everything that happened on your wallet address. So you will need to, normally we need to report those as income because you just got something. But like I said earlier, it probably not, maybe even the value is doubtful, or it could be even wrong. Yeah, we've seen where it's worth thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in some of our customer accounts, just because the wallet, the value of the coin is just ridiculous, or the amount that you got is just ridiculous as well. So we don't really want to report that. I mean, why would you report something that you've never asked for, you don't know what to deal with, you don't know what to sell, or whatever. So or mindset is that you don't want to, you want to get rid of it and you don't want to report those. So what you can do in for example in contracting, there's a good way to handle this. So usually you would go and you would blacklist them first. So that would mean that it will stop importing future, it will basically block them and will stop importing future transaction with that same token. And then whatever has been imported already, then you can delete, and basically won't show up anymore in your wallet. Because like I said, if it has some value, it kind of creates some kind of it kind of affects your value of your portfolio, and then it might skew the other reports and stuff. So we used to say, oh, just leave them alone, but right now we just advise to blacklist, block them, and delete them. Actually, we're even building a list of coins that we've seen, because I mean a lot of them are repeat, so we've been seeing them every now and then in different customer accounts. So you can do that yourself pretty easily, like I said. And then when the job runs to import again, then those won't show up anymore. So actually, we've even seen someone who had actually got some, actually bought some airdrop token. He didn't really know, but then he sold more than he bought because he got some also airdrops. So he actually sold more than he initially bought because he got some like on the side basically. So that could happen. So that's why I always double check or ask if you're not sure, but most likely you can just get rid of them. So we, like I said, we used to put them in a junk folder or like junk wallet, but that would like distort the value of your portfolio and they would just keep sitting there. So we just prefer to get rid of them. So there's a lot of the common ones that we've seen in different accounts. And like, for example, on XRP, um, if you go on the blockchain, you can even see they have a note attached to them, sometimes a comment, and then it's just a link to a website or a giveaway. So that just show that they're using mainly for advertising purposes. So again, if you actually get some valid airdrops for some reason, then when at the moment you get them, then you would need to basically report that as income because you just got that. So you didn't purchase it, you just got that as a reward or bonus or whatever. So that part would be reported as bonus. And then eventually, let's say you would hold on to them, you would have to sell them at some point. Then you would report the difference between the amount you sell them and the amount that they were worth when you got them. And then you would report that as the capital gain. So the difference between the amount you sold and the cost basis. So if you get them for $10, that would be income. Then you sell them for $20 later. Then you would report the other $10 as capital gain. The difference between what you, in this case, you didn't pay for them, but you got at the time you got them and at the time you sold them. So of course, we've seen even people, like I said, they might not be worth anything even if you got them legitimately, or actually you might not be able to sell them at the value they were worth. We had the customer where got some legitimate like kind of Luna token, and they looked like they were worth more because it actually was a different currency, but they were given to replace some of the Luna Classic, so we got some of the new version of Luna. And so of course, by the time you get them, you might end up selling them. They might increase in value, or they might might decrease. So again, you have to decide: are you just if this is valid or not, and are you gonna hold on to them and sell them later or not? But then, obviously, if you hold for a long time, you might be able to use the over 1 year in some places like US and say long-term gain versus short-term gain. But it's up to you to decide. But see, or like advice here is usually we want report accurately, but we don't want to over report or report things that why would you pay taxes on something that's not worth much or it's not valid? So that's why we make this clear, and we tag and label things properly, and then whatever we want to ignore, we're just going to ignore. We don't want to report those, and we're just going to get rid of them. And that's what we like about contracting, because it makes it easier to find this kind of stuff, label them, and find out the details. And often we're just going to even go on the blockchain and double check what they are and make sure you didn't get them or buy them previously, and then we're gonna just label them appropriately so they don't show up in the future. And so the contracting software allows us to keep track of the movement and the cost basis and everything like that. So that's the good thing, is that we're able to then label everything correctly and accurately. So other software we've seen don't make it as easy. So they produce a report, but they don't really tell you that maybe you just reported a coin that actually you got, in fact, for $0, and you might be selling for a certain value, even though you didn't really pay for it, or you didn't really you lost track of how much it cost you initially. So that also reminds you that you say, well, why would I report those? But normally you would report this because anything you get as a gift, as income, as a salary, as a bonus, as a reward is usually considered income. But there's also a myth where people say, oh, as long as I've never convert this back to fiat or your own currency, then I don't need the report, which is a very common myth. And that means that that's not true. Anytime you convert from one token to another, from one and either you sell it and convert back to some other token, even if it's a stable coin, or you sell it as a and convert back to fiat, you have to report your crypto income in most places. So they want to take their cut of your profit at every step. So that's a common misconception. So it's not like one day when you convert back to fiat, you will report taxes. So that's why we need to keep track of all your transaction and report that accurately. Of course, the other thing is they believe that everything is income when you deal with crypto taxes. But if you have the proper cost basis and the proper tracking, at least some of it can be reported if it's a purchase and a sale later. At least you can report that as capital gain in most places. So that means that in most likely this is a lower tax bracket for capital gain. So that's why it's important to have a good software so that it just not reports everything as income, because it thinks it lost the cost basis and it thinks you paid zero for it for some reason because you've been converting it or moving it from different places to. So that pretty much covers it for Airdrops. So if you have, of course, any question with that, or you have doubts, or you want to find out more, let us know. I mean, we've seen many of those different ones. Actually, even I think I've seen earlier today something about, I've seen before one where even in my account, it seems like they were able to deposit a token and then withdraw it later on, that same amount of token. So it was kind of weird. I'm not even sure how they could do that. I know they could deposit, but how could they withdraw it later? So basically, it was some kind of scam or junk airdrop. But actually, even this morning, someone asked us. It seems they didn't have a deposit and they just got a withdrawal. So they're like even negative on that token, which I've never seen before. So I will research that, but that just shows you that there could be weird things. But as long as you don't touch and interact with those, it's not. I don't think it's dangerous. But it's just we will take care of that when we need to report, obviously. So thanks for joining us. And again, we're here Tuesdays and Thursday at 4 p.m. for the crypto taxes, crypto tips, and on Saturday morning at 10 we have more like strategy tips for you. And so pleased to see you. So if you have any question with crypto in general or taxes more specifically, feel free to contact us. We'll have the link maybe to the workshop replay that you can watch. We have services where you can do it yourself, or we have done for you services as well. We have an intro courses on crypto taxes that if you're interested, give us a shout. And so thanks again, and I'll see you probably on Thursday as well. So have a good day. Bye.